This is Linda Zhang here on Cars and Culture with Jason Stein.
Linda, what a pleasure to welcome you into the program. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Thanks.
Yes, of course. And you have to be riding high at this moment, because when you launch a vehicle that is so revolutionary, that changes the game in so many ways, and happens to be the crown jewel in the family empire, and change it so completely, but get such a positive response, you've got to be feeling great about where you are right now.
Oh, absolutely. It's been incredible. This has been a pivotal moment for us at the company. Really taking F-Series electric. And, we had one shot to do it right because of how big F-Series is, and making sure that, our customers who are used to the F-Series brand with Built for Tough knows that this truck is going to do what they need for it to do. But at the same time, bringing in some really cool elements of electrification that they're not used to seeing on a gas truck. For example, Mega Power Front, which is the large front trunk in the vehicle because you don't have an engine. And with that, because of the battery electric, we open up this whole new space for our customers, as well as the awesome performance of near instant torque, 0 to 60 in mid 4 seconds, and 775 foot-pounds of torque, and 560 horsepower. I mean, what can beat that? And then leveraging the battery to be able to give our customer exportable power for intelligent backup power in the case of outages. It's absolutely incredible. And to be able to take this product to market and really show America what electrification can be about with an all-new electric truck is pretty incredible.
And you recently had an experience where you had to use the truck's innovative electric power in a different way, one that would have never been used before with any vehicle. Describe that for me.
Oh yeah, definitely. The other day I had a power outage at home. So because I had intelligent backup power set up with the truck in the driveway, I was able to go out there and plug the truck in, and the whole house as an ecosystem is completely alive at that point. Internet, electricity, basically everything that we need to be able to go. And it was barely using even the max within the vehicle. I was pulling about 2 kilowatt, and it was out of 9.6. So using a fraction of what the truck's even capable of, but we were able to keep going with homework, with eating, with electricity, with TV, and just about anything in the house. So it was pretty cool. And being able to actually even be that home where neighbors can come over and do things as well is pretty incredible as well.
What has surprised you about this journey that you've been on now? There's 4 years that you've been on as the lead engineer of this product.
Well, I think it's really just how great of a job the team's done in terms of taking a strategy with F-Series, electrifying it with the principles that we really wanted to deliver, and with the customer kind of at the center of that focus in mind, to give them an even better tool than they have today, with some of the really great features and really leveraging the technologies that we have in the vehicle to give them that better experience, whether it's on the road or even off the road, like we explained with intelligent backup power. But in addition to that, I think it's just the fact that we set out to do quite a bit with this vehicle, and as a team, we pretty much delivered on all of those promises, and in many cases surpassed it, whether it's payload, whether it's horsepower, or whether it's just overall range for the vehicle. So the team's done an outstanding job, and we're excited to be able to bring that from an electrification perspective at Ford Motor Company to America.
You had so many different various roles within the company leading up to this. And I know you were involved in some of the early electrification efforts, but how did the idea come for you to be involved in this truck?
Well, the opportunity came up, and at the time, I had interviewed for it, and it just seemed like a perfect perfect assignment for me, perfect project for me because of my passion for electrification, but also from a business perspective and an engineering perspective, really being able to pull all that together and work with such an awesome team to be able to take the product all the way from concept to fruition to really getting it out on the roads for customers to get to drive and to experience. So that's been really exciting. And I think, just having such a diverse background, whether it's manufacturing, strategy, engineering, or even the finance side of things, has really helped me quite a bit in terms of getting this project going. And it's been an outstanding a project to be on. And we had such a great team here at Ford, and not only Ford, but the supply base, as well as the UAW, really helping all the way through to make this product great.
Do you remember the day when you were told that the job you had interviewed for was yours?
Yep, I sure do.
Tell me about that day.
Oh, I was so excited. My director at the time called me in the morning and said, "Hey, come on down. I got to talk to you about something." So I went down, and I thought it was about whatever other project I was currently working on. But he told me the great news, and I was just ecstatic. It was just so exciting to be able to work on such a great product, really taking the crown jewels of the company, just like you said, F-Series, which has more revenue than some major companies out there like Coca-Cola, Nike, McDonald's. I mean, that's amazing to be able to take this big of a project and electrify it, leverage a lot of the electrical engineering background that I have as well.
You're such a family-oriented person. I imagine if the first phone call or was the invitation for you to go to your director's office, then the next phone call was you to your family, you to your husband.
Yep, absolutely. My husband and also my parents, because they're a big part of my entire journey here.
Yeah, let's talk about that journey. You certainly talked about it when you introduced the truck, and you're very forthcoming about your own experience and the fact that this is a dream come true, because you were just 8 years old when your family decided that they were going to move, that everyone was going to move to America from China. And you landed in Indiana, of all places. Actually landed in Chicago on your way to Indiana.
Correct.
And all of a sudden you were in America, Mandarin speaking, not really a lot of English, right? And I imagine those days are still very vivid for you.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I remember kind of getting off the plane and knowing my alphabet up to H, all of which I learned on the plane with the help of a lot of really nice stewardesses. And just getting off, and it was like the middle of the night. It was pitch dark, but America was just so beautiful because you had these highways that were just pristine, and these lights, and this car that my dad drove us in, and it was literally my first time in a car, and it literally felt like a fairy tale for me, all the way from Chicago O'Hare Airport, magnificent O'Hare, all the way to West Lafayette. But it was a pretty quiet ride, but at the same time I just remember looking outside and just taking it all in, and looking at the lights in the car, and being able to see my dad again for the first time, and because he had actually moved here about a year before us, so we hadn't actually seen him for pretty much a year. So seeing him for the first time after about a year, it was really it was just a very emotional time for me because of how much was happening for me at that moment, being in a new country, being with my father again, and just being able to really see what America was all about from the highways.
Yeah, you have described where you came from as being less fortunate than where certainly America was when you landed. What do you remember about your time in China?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, America is very different than China back in 1985. But I think for me, I think the biggest thing was when I was a kid, it was just a lot of, family, a lot of running around with friends, a lot of studying, a lot of school, particularly in China. School is a big deal, right? I think I remember in 8th grade, we were still required to take naps, and that was not something I really loved at all. So that's something I remember very clearly as loving when I got to school here in the US for a few months, is that there's no naps, and we did all kinds of great activities, and we had pizza and chocolate milk for lunch. What could be better for an 8-year-old?
What could be better? Your father was in the graduate teaching program at Purdue, but interestingly, and perhaps coincidentally later on in life, he ends up working at Ford. What was he
Yes,
doing
he
at Ford?
did. He was working in the glass factory actually at the time with controls, to make sure that from a quality perspective that we were making glass with quality, and that from a throughput perspective that everything was in good shape and not cracking from that perspective. So he was taking a lot of his civil engineering background, and leveraging it for kind of glass work for the company. And then later on, he moved into more of the research labs and worked on, more advanced transmissions and such. But early on, that's what he did. And those are the days really that I remember the most, because that was when I got the opportunity to go to work with him and see how the glass factory, ran, and, look at the things that he was looking at from a scrap perspective, and trying to make sure that we, minimize scrap, because that's waste. So, a lot of really great learnings, and he really loved his career at Ford, and that was one of the things that really brought me to Ford as a company. Is that it's just a family company, and it gave our family our livelihood in a way, and I just saw how great of a company it was, and that was one thing that drew me definitely to Ford Motor Company.
Did you know you wanted to go into automotive, or did you think about pursuing other careers as well?
Um, I was very interested in automotive. I think for me, just in general, I loved engineering. So it didn't matter specifically what, but I think automotive is always something that called out to me, just because of the cultural significance of it, and then also from just my we talked about my first day in America, right? That was fundamentally just something that had always drawn on me in a way. So I think that piece of it, Ford Motor Company as being a great company, those are all the reasons why I came to automotive. And I mean, it's like working on a big toy, I feel.
So, first day in America, you remember? Do you remember your first day at Ford?
Yes, I do. I My first day at Ford was actually part of the new employee orientation program, and we Ford does such a great job with graduate or student graduating students, because they at the time and they still do have this really wonderful Ford College graduate program, and it brings in a lot of students that really have never been in the workplace. And what I loved about it is it gave you an orientation very quickly to what the company's about, and you spend the first basically week to 2 weeks seeing different areas within Ford, just kind of getting acclimated. You don't straight jump into a job and you sit there and work on whatever widget it might be. The company does a really good job investing really time in and energy into the new hires to give them that acclimation to what is the company all about. And that's what I remember is coming in and my first week spending a lot of time understanding about the company, learning about the company, but then also understanding different areas within it. So we did like a plant tour at the Dearborn assembly plant at the time, which made Mustangs, and then different other areas would bring in different folks to come and talk to us about that side of the business. So, I mean, it's great because Ford's such a big company and a global company, that it's nice to be able to kind of understand what the different aspects are.
Was manufacturing your first assignment?
Yes, it was. And I loved it because it was so hands-on. And I got to see the final product and really kind of see how everything was put together. And for me, as an electrical engineering engineer too, it really was good because I got to use a lot of my controls engineering background into what we were working on for manufacturing equipment.
So we go from manufacturing to product development to finance, corporate strategy, really gathering the business fundamentals that would lead you right to where you are now. And you had experience on the Ford Explorer, the Escape, the Kuga, and then the F-150. And tell me a little bit about your, I guess, the how all of those experiences together led you to the place where you are now.
Yeah, and that's when I think about, my background at Ford, it's amazing, but at the same time, it's really awesome because Ford's one of the companies that can bring it to me, right? I Every time I asked for something different because I was interested in it, Ford would help me get there. Whether it was, hey, I'd like to do more in business. Ford sent me back for an MBA program so I could learn about it. And then also, I got to go work on different aspects of the company where I could use those skills. But I think, when you take all of those different things and put it together, it made a better me in a way. And it gave me a lot of the background and the training, and not only the skills, but also the networking in a way to be able to do what I'm currently doing. Because as a chief engineer, one of the things that I kind of view myself as is that hub of the wheel where we pull different aspects of attributes, financial metrics, customer experiences, marketing, dealership experiences, charging experiences, right? All of those different things and really think about the customer from a product perspective to develop the best product proposition for the customer. So I think from that perspective, all of my different backgrounds has really helped me understand the different areas within the company that can help in the development of this product, and being able to reach out to some of those people that I've worked with in the past to be able to, really get things done quickly. It has been an attribute, I think, in this case.
Some, Linda, have called this an impossible job when it was taken on because you had to roll out what was a reasonably priced electric version of the most popular vehicle in the United States, while, as Time magazine says, skirting the sensibilities of F-150 loyalists whose ethos might be summed up in a country rap artist popular refrain, "Don't touch my truck." that's a tall order, Linda.
I think it was an excellent journey. I mean, I think one of the things is we know our customers really well, right? And I think that really helped us because our North Star was always there, of what a truck customer needs from a vehicle. And then from there, we just added to it. I mean, we gave them the and solution. And I think that's what's great about this whole strategy that we've got here is taking iconic vehicles and electrifying them because the North Star is already there. We know that customer. We know it's going to do well. It's got scale, and it's just building on it to give the customer more. And we took Built Ford Tough, which is what's known for F Series, and added it to electrification and all the different features that are elevated by it. So from that perspective, I think it was actually not that difficult not that impossible of a job because our strategy was pretty right on to begin with.
But you did have some tough moments, and you've admitted over the course of the last few months that when you reflect back on the last few years, there were those moments. You had said once there was a point where you weren't quite sure if the truck was going to be capable and durable, and you had to do some deep thinking. The team had to do some deep thinking about what you wanted the truck to be and what the DNA was that you wanted. You described that as a tough time for you. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So for us, it was really going back to there was a period because of where we were questioning our strategy a bit, right? Of is this an F series truck that's built for tough, or is it more of an adventure truck or a lifestyle truck or something like that? And we quickly came to the decision that it is not anything other than a built for tough F series truck. It has to be able to stand behind that built Ford Tough shield because that in itself is an important icon for the product. So it was a tough time because we had to redevelop quite a bit because of that. And at the time, there was a risk of, maybe we won't be able to get this out at the timeline that we've got. But the team did such a great job in terms of quickly adjusting different elements of the vehicle, including redesigning the entire, motor and cooling system underneath in the architecture of the vehicle, because part of the difficulty, if you look at the chassis, is that everything is packaged so tightly already. So we really needed to make sure we adjusted to get it tight, get it packaged, but with the capability. So it was a tough time, because I think overall the decision required a lot of rework. But at the same point, it was so critical for us to make sure that we stayed with the North Star and the DNA, as you called it, of the truck, to be able to be capable, to be able to give our customers what they need, and not have them have that lack of confidence with the truck that it's not going to be able to get them from point A to B or get their job done. So yeah.
Some have said that you're a bit of a dichotomy, polar opposites. A feminine engineer building America's toughest truck. Talk to me about that.
Oh, that's an interesting way to think about it. I've never thought about it that way. I've always just been me. From my perspective, I feel like balance is important. So, on a personal side, I'm me, and I can't be anything but true to myself. And maybe that is, feminine and, maybe sometimes motherly too. But on the work side, what the truck needs is what the truck needs. And I think from that perspective, I can be more than just my personal self. I can be what I need to be at work. And I think that's, what it takes. And it's not just me. I think that's the other big thing. We have an entire team that's working on this truck that's doing a fantastic job. I just get to, help in some of the leadership aspect of it. So in terms of, setting direction and pushing when we need to push. And I think that's where, being me, myself, and I, it's whatever I've done has seemed to work. And I think that's good, I guess.
How comfortable are you as a role model? Because you are one in this.
Yeah, I've noticed that over the last few months, and I'm happy to be one. I think I've always been a bit of a role model, even at Ford, because I've done a lot of mentoring with folks that are newer to the company. I've been with the company for 26 years, which is scary to say sometimes, because I feel like I just age myself the second I do that. But I've always
You're still in your early 40s, though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the benefits of getting through school fast, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, no, it's definitely different, because I'm my personality is not like a please look at me kind of thing. So for me, being a model for others, I have to kind of think about it in terms of wow, a lot of people are looking at me. But I think what I'd like to try to do is just turn it right back on the other people in terms of what can I do to help other folks, whether it's at Ford, whether it's in the engineering arena, or just in terms of motivation. I'm happy to be that.
So I'm guessing you've embraced that role, and you're now leaning into things like STEM education.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm definitely embracing it. I think there's a lot of opportunities for me to help from that perspective, whether it's at Ford with the engineers that are coming up, or just any employees coming up in the system, or in the earlier educational phases of STEM or FIRST robotics or anything like that. So
let's talk charging and EVs in general, because of course these are all the headlines, with more than 100 plus models coming from all the manufacturers combined over the course of the next couple of years. Do you subscribe to the idea that broad swath public acceptance of electric vehicles will occur when they deliver that same behind the wheel experience of their internal combustion counterparts?
I think customers are looking at EVs for sure, and seeing that not only that is it going to deliver what an ICE product might deliver, a gas product might deliver, but also deliver more, right? And I think that's what we've really tried to do with the Lightning is the Lightning does everything that a gas F-150 does in terms of towing, in terms of payload, in terms of, whatever it might be. But it actually gives our customers a lot more, whether it's, that dry lockable storage that was a pain point before because they didn't have a trunk. Now they've got the mega power front, or whether it's the performance of a sports car and being able to, really drive with a lot of ease and not even having like, that engine noise going on. That quiet, that silence is truly golden. And just the ease and the effort of the vehicle driving is fantastic. And then, when we think about the intelligent backup system, that's a whole new capability that current gas customers just don't have because there is no battery to store that energy. So from that perspective, I think, as long as we keep delivering electrified products that give our customers more, then America will come along because, part of what I think we have to do is it's changing hearts and minds in a way. And I think with this truck, especially getting behind the wheel, it really does change hearts and minds because you get into it and you just fall in love with it and you fall in love with the capability. And that's what we've got to continue to deliver if we want to, bring customers with us.
This is not Ford's issue, and it's an industry issue, actually. But if we talk about low inventory because of things like semiconductor shortages, is it harder to launch a revolutionary vehicle when you just don't have a plethora of vehicles around? No fault of your own. It's supply chain, it's logistics, it's a lot of other things. It's harder to win over hearts and minds if you don't have a lot full of vehicles, correct? I know that's a marketing question more than an engineering question, but I'm guessing you would wish as the engineer, you could just get more vehicles into more hands.
Yeah, no, so the team's actually done a really good job with semiconductors. Definitely, you're right. The chip issue has been a global issue across the board, right? Everybody's suffered from it, not just even within automotive. But Ford has a really good team that's been helping us prioritize the chips and just securing chips as well. And that's really helped us in the launch quite a bit. From my perspective, we haven't had really any issues from a semiconductors perspective in terms of the launch. A lot of what we're trying to do is just making sure that we launch with quality and putting that customer first and, putting quality and taking it, at a pace that we know that we can deliver quality vehicles to the customer. And, we'll accelerate very quickly. I think that's one of the things that Ford Motor Company is really good at, right? Over a century of assembly and manufacturing experience there, I think that'll definitely be something that we can easily accelerate. And as we increase our capacity next year that we've announced already to a running rate of 150K, that'll definitely help in terms of getting product out to customers. But I think this year, what we're really focusing on is making sure that we deliver and launch with quality so that, this first impression of electric trucks to our customers is the best impression. And it should be as we continue to, do that with quality over time too.
When do we see leaps and bounds in battery technology?
Well, battery technology is always improving, right? I mean, I think that's what we've seen even on the Lightning is that we've gotten to the point of energy density where it makes sense for a truck. It makes sense for the mass of the truck and still be able to get there. And I think that's where, with the F series, we've hit it at that pivotal time where it makes sense where the technology with the energy density within the battery and customer demand, as well as kind of infrastructure as a whole, really seems to make sense. And I think that's why we're seeing such a positive feedback from folks on the truck is that the battery capability is pretty good. I mean, at 320 miles for the extended range battery, it can get you basically anywhere you want to go for the day because each night you can recharge. That's one of the great things about the battery electric vehicles is that, with home charging, there's no gas stations. You're not thinking about range in terms of trying to, make it for a week. and then going to a gas station. You can literally top off every night and be able to go another 320 miles. And in the cases where customers want to go on a longer road trip, fast charging is a great option where we can charge, about 40 minutes to get to 80–90%, which is pretty good. And then, you're off on your way again. I know I've done quite a bit of road trips already with the truck, both in development testing and then also just with the family for, soccer tournaments and, hockey stuff. And I've never run into an issue where I have any range anxiety. It's actually it's been pretty good. So.
Well, and so many other cool features. I want to talk about a couple of them. You mentioned the Mega Power frunk and the fact that there's a divider drain that's in the front of the vehicle. It'll hold up to 400 liters in terms of cargo capacity, 400 pounds as well. So you put concrete in there, as you have said. There are cargo hooks, there are lamps, there are 4 outlets. And then Pro Power. There was a funny story about a power outage that occurred at a Michigan wedding, where Pro Power was then used. The truck was used to save the wedding, right, Linda?
Yes, that was pretty exciting. It kept the wedding going till basically 2 a.m. So, this is where, a lot of these features with whether it's battery electric or in that case it was with a hybrid vehicle, of a hybrid F-150, the leveraging of the battery is really pretty fantastic, and that's what we're able to really provide to customers with electrification. There's just so many great features about this truck. Some of it is not even necessarily related to electrification. Blue Cruise, for example, right? That's basically level 2 plus autonomous driving that allows our customers hands-free driving for over America for lots of blue zones. So that aspect of it is pretty exciting too, and it just elevates really the drive experience for the truck.
As an engineer, I'll ask you an engineering question now. What things did you encounter in developing the Lightning that could qualify as the holy shit moment?
um, well, there are a lot of really positive holy crap moments, right? There are a lot where we were like, oh wow, this is actually going to work, and it's not only going to work, it's going to be even better than we thought it was going to be. Intelligent backup was one of those where, as we thought about it, we're coming out with intelligent backup power right now, but if you think about the feature, there's actually a lot more potential for it down the road, to be able to even help with maintenance, from a grid perspective. So we'll see. I think there's been a lot of those type of moments where we take a look at it and we go, wow, there's a lot more opportunities here, and those are things that may come in the future. But that was definitely one of them. And just we talked a little bit about challenges as well with the motor sizing and the cooling sizing to be able to make sure that the truck was durable and capable. And, those are the things that, as a team, we've done a really good job around to make sure that we've got all of the, areas kind of managed, so that it's a great truck for the customer.
Well, there's a lot of fun favorite features that I know you like in the truck. The fact that, and this feature's been around a little bit, but the folding shifter that folds into the center console that then creates a workstation opportunity. Although you've also added games to the enormous screen that's in the center of the truck, right?
Right.
Candy
Yep.
Crush, that sort of thing.
Exactly. What's more fun than games and fast food
Right.
on the table? So yeah, no, the team's done a really great job. The games are exciting. They do give our customers a little bit of something to do when they're waiting for folks at soccer pickup, for example, is where I tend to use it a lot, or even just that when I'm waiting to pick up food, and I'm too early, sit there and just play a couple of quick games. The folding shifter and the table is super helpful. I know we've had situations where my kids have done their homework on there, I've done meetings on there, and it's just a really, it just makes the entire home the entire vehicle super homey in a way where you can basically almost live out of the truck. I mean, there's times where, especially, if you get the platinum vehicle, you've got the massaging seats for the multi-contour seats, get that going, you get, your iPad and games going. There's a lot that you can do in that truck to make it almost feel like you're at home.
I'll ask you a future thinking question here, future leaning. How far are we from not qualifying a vehicle by its propulsion system and just calling it a car or a truck? Because right now we have to qualify that it's a electric F-150. How far away are we from no longer having to do that?
I think we'll always probably have to qualify it in some ways, right? Because even today, like, people talk about cars and trucks as diesels versus gas, versus hybrids versus EVs. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question, but I think, until we get to the point where it's mainstream, just one thing, we'll probably always have to qualify in some ways just to be able to tell the difference between all of them. But part of, what we've done with the F-150 Lightning is make it look, very similar to the F-150 product. And that was fully intentional because we knew that, regardless of propulsion, that truck appearance, that truck DNA is really what our customers want. So, I think that goes to a step toward maybe taking the qualifications that you just mentioned out of it.
Some 30 years ago, you landed at Chicago O'Hare and took the drive to West Lafayette and started a life in America. And in November of last year, you were on the cover of Time magazine. I'm guessing that had to be pretty pivotal for you.
Yeah, it was very surreal for me, to be honest. I mean, I never would have dreamed of even anything like that. To be here when I was 8 years old, seeing a car for the first time, and riding on a highway for the first time, riding in a plane for the first time, to, fast forward to being on the cover of Time. That's pretty amazing. And I'm so happy to be able to represent Ford Motor Company as the innovator on that cover. And, just the great team that's really done an outstanding job in terms of putting a great product and, a set of services together for our customers with this F-150 Lightning truck.
Well, and you not only made it to the cover of Time, but you gave a walk around to the President of the United States.
Yes,
tell me about that moment. Tell me how much that moment meant to you.
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I tried not to think about it as, oh my goodness, this is the President of the United States. I think I was just trying to give a great walk around to President Biden, just as if he was any other person we were walking around the truck. But he was such a gentleman, and really, really was excited about all the different features and the technology of the truck. But also, in terms of what it meant to electrify such a iconic vehicle like F-Series. I think in his mind, that was really going to help move the country forward in terms of electrification and what is possible with electrification.
I'm guessing your parents were watching closely.
Yeah, yes, definitely. My parents have been one of my biggest fans, along with my mother-in-law and my father-in-law. They've both been tremendous in terms of supporting me throughout the last year with being on the cover and being, almost famous, I guess.
Definitely famous for sure. What did your kids ask you about meeting the president?
Oh, they were just excited. I think they just asked, what did he ask? What did he think of the truck? And, those type of questions. But it was pretty exciting for everybody around, kind of getting to experience that and seeing just the excitement in general with the truck.
Well, and he had one of the great quotes, which I think as an engineer, you must have been proud of, when he said, "This sucker's quick."
Yep, that's one of my favorite quotes.
You could frame that right next to the cover of Time magazine. Just a couple more things. When you set out to do this, I think one of the ideas here, one of the, the ethos of this was the prospect of really being able to go down a more technologically advanced route for the truck. And you said you wanted to provide some shock and awe to customers. Do you feel like you've shocked and awed them?
I think we definitely have. And I think there's different ways to provide shock and awe. And in our case, we did it in that and solution way, giving them that and, right? The mega power frunk. That's something that even though it's just a dry lockable storage space that's been elevated to be able to provide, more, people are just amazed by the massive size of it, the capability of it, and all the different things that we've included in it. Similarly with the performance, when you get behind that truck and you step on it, I mean, it is the president put it best, that sucker's quick. You just don't expect it because it's a big truck, and usually that doesn't compute somehow, right? You're getting lots of G's in the truck when you accelerate, and that just doesn't quite compute for a lot of people until you do it for a couple of times. And then, of course, the intelligent backup power. I think that intelligent backup power definitely does provide shock and awe, and I think it's a game changer when it comes to what a vehicle can do for people's lives, right? I mean, in terms of just being able to support an entire home ecosystem, as if there was no power outage. I think that's a game changer. Or even without that, but the Pro Power on board, like you mentioned, being able to save a wedding remotely, basically a power generator on wheels. I think those are the things that provide the shock and awe for people in terms of what this truck's capable of, and really how it can kind of change their lives in a way and change how they currently use the truck to be able to give them even more.
Hundreds of thousands of reservations for the F-150 Lightning. You talked about changing hearts and minds and a cultural shift towards EVs. What's next for you in terms of a cultural shift? What are you going to do next?
I haven't gotten that far yet. I'm still working on the Lightning, and there's still a lot of things that we're working on to make sure that our first customers take delivery of the vehicle. We started shipping out quite a few vehicles in the month of May. So just making sure that they're getting what they're expecting with the vehicle. And then of course, what's great about the Lightning is it's in a way a digital product. So there's going to be a lot of over-the-air updates that are available to keep it, great and really improve it even over time. So those are the things that I'm still working on, along with, just the general launch right now within the manufacturing side to make sure that we get product out to our customers as soon as we can.
We can't wait to see what happens next. Linda, thank you so much for your time here on the show and for you are changing a car culture, and this is Cars and Culture. You're right at the center of it.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, Jason.
The automobile is one of the most important inventions that revolutionized the modern world. In America, the rich history of car culture runs deep as technology continues to shape the future of the industry. Jason Stein, former publisher of Automotive News, is here to share the stories of people passionate about cars, from industry leaders and innovators to car-obsessed celebrities. Buckle up as Jason takes you inside the boardroom, onto the track, and around the bend on Cars and Culture on SiriusXM Business Radio.